Hello everyone, can you hear me? Please type yes in the message if you can.
Hello, can you guys hear us? Hello, everyone.
Hi Krishnan, good morning. Can you hear me? Okay, Gyan, can you speak?
Yes. Hello, Krishan. Can you hear me as well? This is Gyan here. Hello, Tirupati. Can you guys hear me? Hello.
Guys, can you hear Gyan? Okay, they can hear you.
Okay.
So we will be waiting for some time for 2-3 minutes for some more people to join and then we will get started. Gyan, you are sharing the screen, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So let us wait for 2 minutes, guys, and then I'll start the session. And we'll wait for 1 more minute, guys, so that more people will join. Okay. So welcome to our free live sessions, everyone. Good morning, afternoon, and evening, with respect to your regions, places, uh, for our Salesforce training for beginners series. And today we'll be covering security part 2 and about Smriti.
Hi everyone, you would be knowing me by now if you are following SFDC Amplified. Thank you for joining. Gyan, go ahead.
Sure. Thank you, Smriti, for your brief introduction. And this is about me. Myself, I'm a Salesforce admin and developer. And so please do subscribe to our channel, YouTube channel, and please follow our blog SFTC Amplified to get more notifications, updates. So these are the few modules on security. These are the modules, and we'll be covering today in our session regarding the security in Salesforce. So these are all the topics and few of the topics which we have covered in our series, and few like today we'll be going with security part 2, and then we have few more coming up. So here today's agenda. So we'll be going over control access to the fields, because objects we have went through in our last session, and few topics we'll revise from the previous sessions on securities, like on objects and some profiles and permission sets. And then controlling access on records, like we have different like four types how we can control. Two of them are like role, excuse me, role hierarchy and sharing rules. So here, the first one, control access to the fields. So we have seen in the last session that how we can control objects and fields. It was through profiles and permission sets. So controlling access to the fields, this is like a second piece after the object. So controlling fields level access, you can see here we have one user and which has access to a contact object. And then under the contact object, in the contact object, we have four fields: name, phone number, SSN, email ID. These are the four fields we have for the contact object. Now, for the name field, you can see like the permissions what I have given with profiles or permission sets for this is create, read, edit, or update for the name field. For phone number, create and read. For SSN, read, just read permission. And for the email ID, all the permissions: create, read, update, as well as delete. So this is how we can give in the field level access through profiles and permission sets. Now let's say we have a user 2 who also has this access to a contact object, but it depends. Like he might have the same access for the name, like create, read, edit for the name field. And like for the phone number, the first user has create and read access. The user 2 might have just create, or it might have different access. So this is what we'll be going in deep today. So the main basic for setting the profiles on the top level will be profiles and permissions. Permissions. So profiles is like baseline security in Salesforce, and mostly profiles we use for, it's like a collection of permissions for the user. And like uh, where it comes to what exactly permissions we handle with profiles for the users is like CRUD. So like create operation, read operation, update or edit, and delete operations on objects, fields. So on records, we have four methods where we can use four kinds. And system permissions and session permissions that we can use. Session permissions we can do at org level, and the system permissions we can do through profiles. I'll show you guys how we can control the system permissions for a profile. Next, coming to more details in profiles. Like we have seen that how users access objects and data we can control with profile. I'll give the demo as well for that. And then we can update few more settings permissions through profiles, which are app and system permissions. Those are like special permissions which we can control through profile for the users. One of the example is like API enable permission. And then profiles, we cannot be we cannot create a new profile from scratch. It is like we'll be creating a new profile by cloning the standard profiles provided by Salesforce. And we can delete the customized profile, we can edit the properties, we can assign users once we create a profile. So, and always it is recommended like to give, I mean, not to give the delete access to the objects. So that is the high level. Like first we'll go with objects, then fields, and then records. So now I'll show a demo. So if I click on the gear icon setup, so here profiles. In the quick find to the left in the search bar, you can type profile. You can see here. So we can see here we have several standard profiles. So the top ones, where in the custom you can see it is not checked. So that means these are the standard profiles provided by Salesforce. So standard profiles is like we won't be able to do more settings, change more settings like default settings what Salesforce has provided in these profiles. So in order to adapt more changes or as per our requirement, we just clone the new profile. So that is how we create a profile. So here you can see I have created one profile which says demo. So here in this profile you can see, if you scroll down, can see field level security, how we can control the field level security or field level access through profiles. So if let's say if I go to accounts object, so here you can see we have different kinds of fields on the account object. We have name, number, owner, site. So we can, if I click on edit for this profile, you can see what I'll do for the account number. I'll just remove read and edit access. Click save. In the account object, we have removed the account number field access through profiles. So if so for demo, the name of the profile is demo. So let me show you the difference. Now this is so I have a system admin profile here, but I should be able to go ahead and see the field because we have disabled the field only for a demo profile, a particular profile. So if we go to details, here you can see account number, some CD 656092, and if you click on the top right corner, you can see GAN M. So this is me user because I have been assigned different profile which is system admin. Now the changes which we've made, the name of that profile is demo profile. Now what I'll do, I'll go ahead and I'll see who are the users in that profile. If you click on demo, you can see here there is a button called view users. So these are the users who have been assigned this profile. Now you can see there is one user, Ram. So Ram has been assigned with a demo profile. When we have created his user account, he has been assigned his profile. You can see here demo. So for this profile, particular profile, we have restricted access to account number field in the account object. So if I go ahead and log in as Ram, let me let me log in as Ram. Okay, let me log in as Ram here itself. So you guys have seen that I am able to view an account number here because I have a system admin profile. And here now you can see in the top you are logged in as Ram. So you only admins have the permission to log in as some user. So you can log in as some user to view the changes. So if I click on accounts, so we have in the profiles in the demo profile, we have went to account object and then we have deselected the account number read access and edit access. So we should not be able to see. So Ram should not be able to see the account number. If I click on one of the accounts, click on details page, and you guys can see here, I don't see an account number. So this is how we can restrict field level access through profiles. So the next thing I'll be going is permission set. So what is permission sets? So it is also a collection of settings and permissions similar to profiles, but the advantage of using permission set is to give user more access, like to various tools and functions and settings. And here you can see here, like there is a user named Gyan, and he has been assigned basic access for all the users with marketing profile. Like you can see here, profile marketing, the name of the profile is marketing, and he has been assigned some access to this profile. All the users in this profile, they have been accessed some level. And then we can use the permission set if you would like to give additional access to the, to let's say particular users, to the set of users. So we can create a permission set and we can give additional access for some users in the same profile, or we can choose from different profiles. So this is an advantage with permission set. So please remember, guys, everyone, that permission set is only used to give additional access. It is not used to restrict the access. So here, so I have made some used small Giphy to explain you guys the difference between permission set, user, and profile. So now let me show you guys. So here, here the middle minion is a user in Salesforce. We have, and next we have a profile to the to the right side, and every user will have profile. So they are like together always. Every user will have definitely one profile. Without a profile, we won't be able to create a user in Salesforce. Now, permission set. So here, just for fun, I wrote that to play more, we use extra permission is needed to play more for these two minions. So similarly, like permission set is used to give extra permissions, like we give basic permissions with profile, and then if we need extra permission, we'll go for permission sets. So I'll be showing demo now. Just now you guys have seen, like we don't have now, we are not able to see account number for Ram, who has been assigned a profile of demo. So let me log out and let me log in again. So I'll be giving a demo of permission set. So in the previous example, we have seen through profiles, by creating a demo profile, we were able to remove the access for account number field for demo profile, which is no read access or no edit access. Now, what I'll do using permission set, I'll create a permission set, and I'll create a permission set. I'll add Ram, who is in that profile, and I'll assign him that permission. So it's like giving extra permission to that user to assign, to access that fields or to the records. So login. Okay. Let me check if I've been logged in with my account. Yes, you can see again M. So click on the gear icon and then click on setup in order to so that your homepage and setup window opens in a new tab. Uh, you'll find a search bar in the top left. Types permission sets. Let me create a new permission set. Give as a demo marketing name and then license. Let me select Salesforce, save. Now I've created a permission set. Now in this permission set, I'll go ahead. You can click on manage assignments in order to add users. So click on add assignments. I'll add Ram to this permission set. Once we add, click on done. So now we'll go ahead and now I'll go ahead and I'll give the permissions. So if we go to object settings, you can click on accounts, click edit to make the changes in the settings. So here you can see even object settings we can change with the permission sets. And now read edit here account number you can see here. So I have given read access and edit access as well. So click on save. So now we can log in as Ram again and we can see if has he's able to access the account number field on the account object. Click on account. You can see on the top it says login as Ram. If I go to one of the account record, click on details. There you go. So now you can see you can see account number, you can edit. So that's how we can restrict permissions through profiles and then use permission set to provide extra access for different users of different profiles. So this is one of the use case. And someone had a question regarding view all and modify all. Those are like to view all the objects related records for the object, and even we can modify that will override the sharing settings, which you will learn in the coming next, so like in this session only in future. So now let me go back here. Now it comes record level security. So record level security determines which users can update or like CRUD operations again, specific records like in object. Here we have a picture. So here we can see we have a two profiles, teacher and principal, and one object which says school. So we have few records here which have been created. Let's say Geeta, and they have been given designation principal, Rohan HOD, Manish, Ashok, Shahrukh. These three are students. So here we have teacher and principal profiles. There are two different profiles, and they are trying to access. They have access of one object, which is school, the same object. But here, the users, like the principal profile users, they can edit all the records, like all these records which are created. They can edit the principal, HOD, or student records. Whereas the profile which says teacher, they can only edit student records. So this is how we can restrict record level access through four methods, like, and basically the access level can be controlled like in five ways. So the first one is parent, controlled by parent. If parent, then child can be edited. Like example, you can take accounts example. If account can be edited, then only contact can be edited. Let's say if you don't have access to a contact, to an account, and you are trying to edit a contact, a child object which is related to a account, so you won't be able to do that if it is controlled by parent. So next, if it is set as controlled by parent, next setting is public read write transfer. This is applicable only for leads and cases. Example like for this is like, let's say I'm an owner of some account, or some case. If I'm the owner, and all the users, they can like view, edit, like they can transfer, they can do reportings, but only like as it, the account, the record has been, the case has been created by me, only I can delete or I can change the sharing settings on that record. So this comes when we select public read write transfer. Coming to public read write, the users can only read and edit, and read only, they can only read. And coming to private, no read or edit. These are some settings. So record level access. So here you can see from the bottom, the base level what we get record setting is organization, or you can say org in short, wide default. So this sets the baseline access for your records. You can set organization wide default like separately. I'll show you guys this. I'll be logging again. I'll log out as Ram, and I'm logging to my account. So I'll show you guys this in the org wide default, like different level settings. Click on gear icon, setup to go to settings, and in the search bar, you'll type sharing settings. You can click here. You can see here organization wide default. Click edit. So you can see a different level of access: private or public read only, public read write, or public read write transfer. This is like for all the objects, or you can set even for standard as well as custom. And then the first one, let let's say we have set the organization wide default to public read only. So we cannot be more restrictive than that in the record settings level access. So in order to open up the access, we'll be using going for role hierarchy, sharing rules, manual sharing. Next, org wide defaults. So this is like a default access level for an object's record with OWD settings. And it's like you have to take care of both the settings like object level as well as your record level security settings in order to give proper access to the records you want as you want. Like the most restrictive one wins in both. Like, let me show you guys the example. Like here, the best example. So here in the first case, you can see there is an object called account. And on the object level, through profiles, we have given only read permission to the account object. Whereas for the same account object, if for the same account object in the records, in the OWD, like org by default, we have given public read write permission. So in like cannot be created here because the most restrictive setting is read. In the account you can see that there is no edit option or create option we have. So this is the most restricted compared to two between the object level and the record level in OWD. So always the most restrictive will work. So on the account you can see it's just the read access, so you won't be able to create any record account records here in this first case. Coming to the second case, it's vice versa. Let's say in the object level access, we have given create, record, edit access. But when it comes to OWD, what I have done, I have given only read access to the records. So even in this case, it's not possible to create records. So make sure that you need to use this combination of object level, field level, and the record level access in order to provide a better access to the users, like creating groups. So now, my friend Smriti, she'll be taking care of uh, the next modules, like the next things.
Thank you, Gyan. So
Yeah,
you can stop sharing.
yeah.
So let's understand with the help of what is happening recently. Just give me 1 second. Okay, so we have to understand what is role hierarchy. So if you see, there is Doctor 1 and then there is Doctor 2, and they both want to get. So basically, what happens is that single role is assigned to many users. So basically, in Department 1, there are many doctors, and in Department 2, there are many doctors. And then doctors have the access to the subordinate data. So that's how the role hierarchy works. So let's understand. Role hierarchy setting helps supervisor to see and edit records of who are below in the hierarchy. So basically, the main doctor can see the data of Department 1 and also of Department 2. So that's how it works. Guys, am I not audible? Guys, am I audible? Okay. So, okay, great, great. Okay. So basically, we were talking about role hierarchy. So I was saying that if there is someone is superior in the role hierarchy, then he gets access to the user records below in the hierarchy. So you can see the doctor 1 and doctor 2, they will be not seeing each other's data, but the main doctor, the department head, will be able to see the data of each one of them. Data is nothing but the records, and that's what they can see. So that is role hierarchy. Now let's see with the help of an example. So if you see here, you will be seeing CEO, and it is having VP Human Resources, VP Development, and that's how you see the hierarchy. Now, what happens is CEO will be able to access the records of all of them, but when it comes to VP Human Resource, he will be only able to access recruiting manager and recruiting manager and recruiter. So below in the hierarchy. And then when you see on the left side in the recruiter, he won't be able to see records of recruiting manager or VP human resources. Similarly, in the VP development, there can be many VP development or one. So here it's just one, and he should be able to access all the records for each one of the roles. And if you talk about, for example, product manager, so what will happen? Amy and Andy, they will be not able to see the records of Frank, who is director product management role, but Frank will be able to access. But Frank will not be able to access about uh, the Melissa Lee or Ben Stewart, who are of different roles and who are not under his role hierarchy. So that's how it works, and that's how the same structure follows when we are talking about Salesforce. Okay, if the voice is low, I will be trying to be more louder. So I have created few users to show you the example. So here is the profile, and you see that all the profiles are same, and these are three of the users. Let's see. So I will go to the role very quickly, and here we see that set up your role hierarchy to control how your organization reports and accesses data. And you can see here the example also, executive staff and whole picture which we showed in the PPT, exactly the same way it is talking about that. So I will click on setup roles, and this is by default setup, just an example, and we can add more. So you see the structure here. Now suppose I want to add more role. What I need to do is, for example, I want to add role below the CEO. So I will click on add role, and then whom it reports to? It reports to COO role. So basically whoever are the users on the COO role will be able to see the records of the below hierarchy. So then we can skip this part, opportunity access, let it be the way it is. Click on save, and then the role is being created. I can assign the users to the role. So suppose I have added David Lu to the role and click on save. So now he is added. Let me quickly create another role under department head, like we saw in the picture. So for example, so there can be multiple departments, right? So we can have one department where it says assign user to role, and I can add, and it shows here as well. And I click on save, and then I create one more, and then I will be assigning the users to the role. So basically you see the structure here. If I click on the roles, so you see the structure. There is department head, doctor department 1, doctor department 2. So I have structured, I have list the structure. Now what will happen is, if I go, so now this is how role hierarchy we put in. But let's understand more about it. So we have to go to the sharing settings. So like Jan talked about OWD, here it is set. Now if we want the role hierarchy, it is very important that we check the grant access using hierarchies. If it is not checked, then the then who is head, like manager, who is having the access to subordinate data, that will not happen. So whoever's above the hierarchy, if we want them to access, then it should be checked. And also we have to remember that it will be by default for the standard objects. So this is one of the important interview questions which comes. So if you see here, these are the standard objects, so we cannot unselect it, but that we can happen for the custom objects. So for example, I have put account and contacts as private. So these are the options there. So if I set it as private and click save, so what will happen is, so what will happen, department head would be able to see the data for record for doctor department 1 and department 2, but they won't be able to see for the department head. So that's what we want, and that's how it can be achieved using the role hierarchy. So let's have some quiz related to it. So guys, are you ready for it? So OWT setting for a particular record is set to private. By using what we can expand the access for manager to access their subordinate information. Okay, so let's understand it. OWT setting for a particular record is set to private. So I just gave the example of accounts, right? So it was set to private. By using what we can expand up the access for manager to access their subordinate information. So whenever we want to expand the access for the manager, what we need to do is we need to use the role hierarchy. So like you saw in the head of department and department 1 doctor and department 2 doctor, if we wanted to give that access, then we use the role hierarchy, and then that's how we are able to use it. Moving ahead, before understanding sharing rule, I want to make you understand public groups a little bit. So basically, what is a public group? A public group is considered as a bunch of individual users, alternative groups, individual roles, or roles with their subordinates that have function in common. So what we understand by this is, it is set of users. It's nothing but just set of users which have different profile. Basically, they cannot be grouped together in any other way. So that's how we put all of them together in the public group. So that's how the public group works. And what are the use of public group? It can be used in sharing rule to share the record, which we will see. It can be used in sharing in Salesforce knowledge, and can be used in reports and dashboard to give access to reports and dashboard. So these are the three use of the public group. Now how it will get used? Firstly, let me show you. So here I go to public group, create new, and name. And see, we can have roles. So we just saw the roles, right? So the we will be able to see the roles. Then we can have roles and subordinates. It means in the public group, all the roles and all the users below them are able to be here in the public group, otherwise the users we select. So for example, I select a user and click here, then they will be part of a public group. If I go to roles and choose CEO, so he will be part of it. That particular role will be part of it. And if I click on roles and subordinates, so whatever be under the CEO, they will be part of it. So that's how this works. So for example, I just save it. That's how we create a public group. So now let's understand sharing role. So we have OWD private, and right now you have already understand that if the head wants to have the access, then we will be using role hierarchy. But suppose doctor of department 1 wants to access the data of role of the doctor of department 2. So how can that particular role can get access? So that can be done using the sharing role. So sharing role, basically you can share records, otherwise which user cannot have access. So sharing rule work best when they are defined for a particular group of user that you can determine or predict in advance. And sharing rule only for object who have OWD public read only or private. It won't be working for OWD which is public read and write. It will be only working for that. So that's how the sharing rule works. So you can see here it helps users to share records based on a particular condition. That is the first one, that share record of user of doctor of department 1 to doctor of department 2. So for that we will be using the sharing role. Or the second example is that share record of user of role 1 to particular group. So we just saw the group, right? So that's how the sharing rule works. Let's see. So if we put the sharing settings where we saw the OWD, there only we will be seeing the public group. We will be seeing the sharing rules. So you see OWD here, all the objects and public read write which we just covered. We covered the role hierarchy. Now comes the sharing rules. So the objects where which we can have the sharing rules are here. And also one thing which we need to remember is that in the master detail relationship, the detail object, we cannot add the sharing rule to it. So that's how it works. Now we have also the filter here. So for example, I want to do opportunities. So I can simply click on opportunities and it will just show the OWD for opportunity and the opportunity sharing rule. So let's see one. So if you are here, this is how we put it. This is how we put it. We will be seeing by creating one, but this is a simple example, and let's see how we create it. So I will go on new. So I can put some name which is more relevant. So see, there are two types of sharing rule which I will just quickly discuss. One is based on record owner and secondly is based on the criteria. So that type of sharing rules are two: owner based sharing rule and criteria based sharing rule. So what happens in the owner based sharing rule? It determines you should share records which are owned by this user to another user. Means when you want to share record for this set of user to another set of user, for that you use owner based sharing rule. So let's see. This is owner based sharing rule, and for example select which record to be shared. So for example we just select role side. So in that I want that doctor department 1, that particular role shares whatever the records he owns to the role of department 2. That's what we want, right? For that we will be using based on record owner. And then we can say read only. They will be only able to read the record, or read and write. So they will be able to edit as well. And then click on save. So that's how we are able to create the sharing rule. Now comes the criteria based sharing rule. In this, we share records who meet the particular criteria. So let's go back. So based on particular criteria, so I'm doing an opportunity. So I can say that, for example, I can put any condition if I want to. Like for example, opportunity name equals or starts with S. So in that case, a condition I have put. And then with whom I should share? Public groups, roles and subordinates, which we just discussed. So we have just created a public group, right? Where we added some users. So we can have the test group, or we can have roles which we created, or we can have particular roles and subordinates. So in roles and subordinates, that particular role and below it will be able to access. And then again, there is read only and read and write. So because of which, what will happen? Now, Department 1 head will be Department 1 role will be able to access Department 2 role. So whoever will be part of that particular role, they will be able to access. If we are using, if we are adding their condition based on roles and subordinates. So here, that's how the sharing rule works. Now let's have one quiz on sharing rule, and we will be understanding it more. So are you guys ready? OWD is set to private and profile with CRED. I want all records of role to be visible to another role B, which are equal level in hierarchy. So here the answer is sharing rule. So now let's understand why the answer is sharing rule. It said that OWD is set to private. Till now you would have understood that where we set a private. This is how we set private. And profile with CRED, create, read, edit, delete permission. I want all records of role to be visible to another role B. So when they both are in same hierarchy, we cannot, it's not the role hierarchy we can use. OWD is anyways private. Sharing rule is the one which we need to use for this case. So that's how this works. Now comes the manual sharing. So exactly what it is. So if you want to share records individually with other users using a sharing button on the record, that time manual sharing works. So why we use at the first place? So here we already understood two use cases. Now the third case is, what if the head of the department wants to share his records, his particular record to that doctor of department 1? What if that happens? In that case, he can do the manual sharing. So basically, we can use it when it is not possible to define a consistent group of users. So basically, in this case, we can share it with one user. So that's how manual sharing works. So let's understand with the help of an example. First of all, you will be not seeing that sharing button which I just said if it is public read and write. You can only see if it is public read only or private. So let's see with the help of example. Let's go to accounts. So let's choose one account. So if you see here, you don't see any option of sharing. I don't see it. So where it is, what happens is for this we have to go to the classic. So we will be quickly switching to the classic, going to accounts, all accounts. Okay, we can create one. So you see, we see sharing, and when we click on sharing, we can see we can click on add, and with whom we can share, we can add. So again, public group rules, roles and subordinates, and user, which we just discussed. So I can choose public group and add here, and then I can say that what kind of access we want to have. So that's how we can put it for that particular record. So I just want to share the test one. In that way we can do by using the manual sharing. Now I just said if I go here for the lead, it is having public read write transfer. So whichever is having public read write and all, they should not be having that sharing, because anyways the access will be through OWD, because it's already public read write. So we don't need to give the extra level of manual sharing for them to do the share. Anyways the record will be visible, right? So we don't need to do it. So we can test it once. So you see, you don't see any sharing because it's public read write transfer. OWD already is giving the access to the records. So you don't need the sharing rule to give more level of access. So basically, that's how this works. It sharing rule, manual sharing doesn't restrict the access, but they give more access. So we just read manual sharing allows user to grant one of access to their individual records of for user, roles and public groups. Who can share through manual sharing? Record owner can share. Who is owner of that record? A user in role above the owner, they can share. User granted full access to the record can share, and of course the administrator can. So these people can do the sharing. So let's understand more with the help of quiz. So I hope you guys are ready. It's the same question. I didn't edit, I guess. So we can skip that. So, Jan, can you play the Kahoot?
Yes, let me share the screen. Thank you very much, Smriti.
Yeah, go ahead.
So
So, guys,
please,
please log in.
yes, everyone, please log into kahoot.it and enter the pin you can see on the screen. I see four players joined. Five. Santosh Verma has some question. While players are joining, I can say that uh, he has a question saying that there are three users which are on the same profile, and if they want to restrict some, so you can go ahead and you can restrict on object. You can restrict on the sharing settings for the records for those objects. Yes, without changing anything in the profile, you can go ahead and do it in the sharing settings. So we have 21 players joined. I see there are more coming. So let's wait for 2 more minutes. So, yes, sir. Come on, guys. I see people are joining. 23 people, players have joined. I see 24 players, 25. Okay, so 26. So I'll be starting now. So here you go. So 8 questions. So the first question, how many ways can we restrict access to a field? I see three people have given the correct answer. So let me go ahead with the next question. So Priya is leading the scoreboard. So the second question is, which of the following is not a way to share records? I see that 12 people have given correct answer, which is email sharing. So that's good. Let's see who is leading the scoreboard. Simi, there's a new person here now. Simi is leading the board with 18-15 points. So let me go ahead for the next question now. User security token will be refreshed every time their password is changed. So yes, the token gets refreshed whenever you change password. 14 people have given correct answer. That's good. So let's see who is leading the board. Still Simi is leading the board and Pooja has come to third place. Priya is on fourth. The next question, which scenarios will the sharing button appear? I see 7 people have given correct answer. So whenever the sharing model for the object is set private or public read only, then we can see the sharing button. Let's see who is leading the board. Still Simi is leading the board. Pooja has come to second place and Mahi went to the third place. Let me see the next question. You can restrict a profile's view to a certain field by using which feature? So 10 people have given correct answer, which is a field level security. Okay, let's see who is leading the board. It's still Simi, and I see Ram Mohan is on second, and Abhijit is on the third position now. So let's see, guys. In OWD, if OWD is public read write, what feature in Salesforce is needed to restrict access to that object? Hey, so only 3 people have given correct answer for this. So profile, you can use profile to restrict the access to the object. Let's see who is leading the board. Still Simi is leading the board, but we can see Pooja is on the second position. That's good. Come on, guys. Let's go ahead for next question. What is a sharing rule? It's simple. Come on. I see only 4 people gave correct answer. We use sharing rule for we have seen just now, like to give permissions to users on the records, like edit, read, write. So let's see who's still Simi is leading the board. Mahi has come to second position and Abhijit to third. Come on, Mahi, Abhijit. This is the last for everyone. This is the last chance. Last question coming up. What is permission set? I see 6 people have given correct answer and permission sets we use to give extra access to records. Let's see. So let's see who's the winner. Abhijit, third position. Mahi, second. And Simi is leading. Congratulations, Simi.
Thank you, Gan. You can stop sharing.
Sure. Thank you.
So, guys, that's great that we have covered the security as well, and that's very important topic. So, I request you to please study it properly and do the important trails associated to it. And if you have any Q&A, Gyan and me can answer it right now. So, Gyan, go ahead and you can answer a few questions, and we can,
Sure.
yeah.
You guys can have type your questions in the chat. So I have a question from Pawan regarding territory and queue. So Pawan, so basically, like when we use queue is like whenever we want to assign a record like to bunch of like many users, like it might be based on some criteria. So like any member in the queue can work on the record. Whoever gets first or whoever finishes first, they can start working on the second record. And coming to territory management concepts, that one is also like sharing like settings, and that is like granting access based on like characteristics of the accounts, like let's say based on some territories like US, India, or Canada, based on some territories. Like we have different accounts, marketing, sales, so we can define such territories.
So thank you, Gyan. Then, guys, please subscribe to the channel and click on the bell icon. Thank you guys for joining the session. And the next session will be on Sunday, 8 a.m. IST according to India time zone, and 10:30 EST Saturday according to EST time zone. So thank you guys. We will be catching up then.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you. And stay safe and study hard. Thank you.